All right, well, thank you so much for being here again, and I'm so glad to introduce Mr. Doyle Lawson and Mr. Russell Moore, and we've got a couple people coming in. They're going to come in late, but let's give the guys that's here a big hand.
Go in, Russ.
I haven't seen anything yet.
All right. How you doing?
We got a little less here than we thought we were going to, so you just ignore all those empty chairs. But you guys, if you want to go ahead and, tell everybody just where you're from and what, just general information that you might want to share, and then I've got a couple of questions for you. If you want to, if you don't want to, it's fine.
I'm Russell Moore.
That's right. We decided we were going to be each other tonight. No, I'm Russell Moore, and I was born and raised in Pasadena, Texas, and got all right. Hook 'em horns. And got interested in bluegrass music at a very early age, and then moved east, settled in Asheville, North Carolina for a little while, and at this point I'd already met Doyle a couple of times, and not long after we moved to Asheville, Doyle hired me and a couple others, and we moved across the mountain over to Bristol, and was there for 6 years. A lot of miles, a lot of shows, and a lot of fun, and a lot of music, a lot of, in my opinion, really good music that we did together. And for the last 28 years, been a part of a group called Third Time Out, and I live down in Georgia, in North Georgia, just below the North Georgia mountain. This is where I make my home now. And no place I'd rather be than right here in Norton, Virginia today.
You ought to get into politics.
Well, I thought about it.
You'd be a hit here, I know that. Well, I'm Doyle Lawson. I was born over in Sullivan County, right on the outskirts of the city limits of Kingsport, and we lived there for a good number of years, except for a short period of time in about 47 or 8. Dad took a job over in a little coal camp of Leatherwood, Kentucky, in Perry County. And of course, the camp's not there anymore; it's been reclaimed. But I actually went through the first year of school in Leatherwood, and I kid people and say I went through the first grade in Leatherwood, and I came back to Kingsport and I taught 8th grade the next year. And, that's not really the truth, But I've, as long as I can remember, I've loved the sound of music. I can't ever remember not having a song in my heart or in my lungs. And I wanted to learn to play the mandolin, and we had moved to Hancock County. All right, county seat being in Sneeville, of course. Just happened to be where a fellow who became known as the King of Bluegrass, Jimmy Martin, was from. And I was about 14 years old, and Jimmy's brother-in-law had married one of Jimmy's younger sisters. They lived on the farm right next to ours. And he took an interest in me playing. He said, Jim's coming home for Christmas. He wanted to go meet him. And I don't know what time of year it was. It was probably September or October. I thought Christmas would never get there, though. I didn't want anything, it wasn't the gifts I was looking for. I just wanted to meet Jimmy Martin. That's what I was looking for. And I met him when I was 14. Jim took an interest in me and kind of kept his eye, I guess. So 4 years later, I wound up going to Nashville, Tennessee. not as a mandolin player, but I played banjo for him, and went there in February 1963. And from there to Kentucky, spent 5 years plus with J.D. Crowe, and played some around Louisville when I lived in Louisville, but mostly square dances, things like that. And I taught music, I teach banjo, mandolin, whatever, anything to make a buck and keep my hands in music. But in 1971, I had a call from the Country Gentleman in Washington, D.C., and I moved over there and stayed there for 7.5 years. And I was really restless, trying to, I wanted to see if what I could do from the ground up. So the first day of April 1979 was the start of that. That's been 40 years now. In around 1984, I believe it was, we were playing a show in Tarkenton, Texas. There's a place called Russell. You remember the Blue Barn, I believe it was?
Yes, it was. Yes.
And they had an opening act, and I came off the bus, and I heard these guys playing, and boy, they just knocked my socks off. I thought, man, these kids sound like they've been listening to what we're doing, you know. And so I got their names, and I came back east, and the fellow that was producing the festival that I host over in Denton, North Carolina, I called him. I said, there's some fellows out in Texas that you need to get back here, and they need to be on the festival. And they did. They came back, and boy, they just captivated everybody. Well, the result was they just moved back here. In all honesty, Texas was not exactly a hotbed for bluegrass. There were some out there, but the opportunities were much more greater on this side of the Mississippi River, and they came back. And as it turned out, a year or so later, the banjo player, Scott Vestal, Scott and his brother Curtis were in the band with Russell. And Scott called and wanted to know if I'd be interested in producing an album for him. I said, I got a better idea. Why don't you just come to work for me? You and Russell and Curtis. And so instead of producing the record, I gave him a job, you know. So, but they were younger than me, and I think Curtis was 18, you were, 19 or 20 you were, wasn't it? Something like that. And
About that. I think I may have been 20 or maybe even 21.
I don't remember exactly, but anyway.
But we were a lot younger than you.
Everybody's younger than me. I've been around longer than a horse been on a car. But they came in, and it was the first personnel change that I had made, other than the bass player when Lou left and Randy Graham came in. But there was a pretty major change when, there was a 4-piece band, and I replaced 3, so that's pretty major. And these guys were young, and I know they felt really like they had some tall shoes to fill, but I can tell you they worked really, really hard. We had some pretty intense rehearsals for sure, and they'd come over from Asheville and we'd rehearse, and they'd go home. I'd give a list of things I wanted to work on the next day, and so we had about 2 to 3 weeks to get everything ready, but when we hit the stage, there was not one song that I had recorded or that I had been doing. Plus, we had others because I wanted to introduce them as individuals, and so it was a pretty smooth transition. And because Russell, Scott, and Curtis they were hungry for the music, they wanted to play good music, and they wanted to be in a good place, and all 3 of those fellows did the job and served the purpose awfully good. And I don't think I can have looked the world over, and if I had needed to again and found anybody that would have been more suitable than they were at the time. And after all these years, 28 years, he said, and we were doing a little sound check a while ago, and I looked at Josh after I got through. I said, well, Big Texas still got it.
Well, I have to be honest. Since you went into detail like that, myself and Scott and Curtis, of course, we were huge fans of Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver. We followed Doyle's career. I listened to Doyle when, heavily when he was a part of the Country Gentlemen, and because I was a huge fan of Charlie Waller's voice, and the songs that they recorded and performed, the arrangements, they were all just wonderful, and I know Doyle had a lot to do with that as well. But we were already huge fans of your music, and that was one of, I guess if we were to have a job or a position in a band in bluegrass music, other than doing our own thing at that time, it would have been as a member of Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver, and that's just the honest truth about it. In 1979, I was playing with a group, a bluegrass group out of Texas, and we had rehearsal at the bass player's house one evening, and the banjo player, this was either late 79 or 1980. I was still in high school. And the banjo player came in the front door with his banjo case in one hand, and your first LP is Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver in the other hand, like this. And he said, "Boy, oh boy, you guys have got to hear this." He had just gotten it. He said, "Before we do anything, you guys have got to hear this." So back then, everybody had a turntable in their living room. It wasn't like today, where,
You can't find one.
where you can't find one. So that's what we did. We put that thing on side A and put the needle on there, and as soon as it started, Mighty Mississippi, I believe was the
It
first.
was, yeah.
Yep. And as soon as the vocals came on, it's like, I was expecting mandolin or banjo or something to kick off a song, and that trio came on, and boy, I was like an old dog, turned my head like, what's that, And I can honestly say when that LP finished playing, I was already hooked. I was a fan at that point, because it was
Kind of glad that you were. all right.
it was really, that was a turning point right there. It was just different, and you remember Johnny Martin.
Oh, yeah.
That's the guy that I was picking with. But he was a huge fan of Country Gentlemen,
Oh,
Charlie.
yeah, absolutely.
And a traditionalist,
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying.
Great guy, too.
And I remember him sitting there listening to it, and it got through playing, and the first thing he said was like, that boy's playing electric bass, ain't he?
Well,
That's the first thing he said.
Yeah, oh, of course. Yeah, Johnny was a great guy, though. But bless his heart, he loved the music with passion. But Johnny had the worst luck. He wanted to have, he tried to do, I don't know how many bluegrass festivals over in Louisiana when he retired. Johnny was from Louisiana originally, wasn't he? Wasn't he from there originally?
I'm not sure that he was. Now, his wife was.
Okay, Ann was.
Ann was.
Anyway,
Yes.
but bless his heart, he would, every year, it'd start raining maybe an hour before the festival started. It would rain till an hour after it was over with, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Had the worst luck, but Johnny would always pay, and I felt so bad. I got to where that I really didn't want him to call me because I hated to take his money because I knew it was going to rain, I said, but he was a great guy. He loved the music, and he was a devoted Country Gentleman fan for sure. And that's where I heard Russell the first time. Just a kid singing. I heard you all somewhere or another. Then you turned.
When I was
yeah,
playing music with Johnny.
yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Wow.
Yeah, in fact, you never did know that Johnny told me to keep my eye on you. So,
Oh,
yeah. So,
Well,
now you know.
good. It worked out good.
Since we're walking down memory lane a little bit, this is so interesting. I love hearing it. I don't even want to interrupt, but what is the most memorable moment? If you could pick just one in your career, what would your most memorable moment be? I know it's hard to pick just one.
Who you, hope you're talking to him.
I'm talking to both of you, if that's okay.
Boy, that would be really tough. There's so many different things that have happened,
Right.
and memorable. Could be on the good side, or it could be on the other side.
Well, let's
as well.
concentrate on the good. How
On the
about
good,
that?
yeah. That was still that's a tough one. We were talking about it earlier. We were reminiscing before sound check and all when we first got here, and we were talking about a 6-week tour that we did through South and Central America. And for me, I was probably 23, 24 years old, and we had been to Europe a time or two, and I'd seen that, but I'd never done anything that would prepare me for 6 weeks in South and Central America, I'll be honest with you. It was some really cool stuff down there, and there was some scary stuff too that we experienced. But that whole, the thing I guess I'm trying to get to is that music gives you opportunity, or it has me, I know it has Doyle too. It has given us opportunity to see and do things that we might not have been able to do otherwise.
For sure. Well, I would think probably, and look, I'm 56 years into a career, and so I couldn't begin to, I guess the one that always sticks in my mind when I was growing up, I always have thought when I would listen to the Grand Ole Opry, boy, when I get up, grown and I'm going to see the Grand Ole Opry. That's what I want to see. Because I'd listen to the radio and I could just imagine Roy Acuff and Bill Monroe and all those people on the Opry, And I said, I want to go, I'm going to go see that. Well, I did. I got to go see the Grand Ole Opry when I was 18. Except I saw it from the stage. I was on the stage playing banjo for Jimmy. I looked down and my pants, I was shaking so bad my pants left. So I never forgot that. And I'd much rather have seen it from the audience, but that was my first trip to the Opry. But so many things have come my way over the years, the recording of an album at the Capitol building with Senator Robert Byrd, and we did it remote. We set up in the John F. Kennedy room, and the engineer brought the equipment in, and he set up in Senator Byrd's office. And so we would have to listen closely, and when the tape would roll, he'd tell Senator Byrd, "Now you tell me what it is. When you announce it, then I'll turn the tape on." So Senator Byrd was an old-time fiddle player. He'd never picked with anybody, except he'd fiddled himself into politics. He fiddled himself into where he got to be. And he was the Senate Majority Leader at that term. But he'd get flustered sometimes. And when I went over there, the owner of the record company I was recording for, he said, "You got to come help me." He said, "Senator Byrd never picked with anybody, and I need some help." So I got the banjo player with the gentleman at the time, James Bailey, and took Spider Gilman playing bass, who traveled with us to Soul Merch, but he was a good bass player. So we went over, and the first thing I had to do was teach Senator Byrd how to get started. And once I got him started, then I had to teach him how to get stopped. But he was a pretty quick study. But he'd get a little flustered. And one time we were doing, he wanted to record rye whiskey. So he was going to announce rye whiskey. And so he got ready, and he said, So he said, "Wait a minute." Finally, he threw his bow in the air and said, "Rye whiskey," and he came down and hit the microphone. But anyway, I never forgot stuff like that. But he was quite the character. He'd get it after we recorded the album. He'd get us to go and do these dinners, these political dinners and stuff, which is pretty interesting to me to see all those politicians. Boy. I I knew right then I never want to get into politics. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. But it was interesting. And if he was fiddling, it got too loud. He'd say, "Now y'all be quiet. I didn't come here to play while y'all talk." Boy, they'd shut up. You know? But a lot of things have come my way. But I guess the opera the first time was, and I still get nervous when I go to the Ryman Auditorium. The main opera house out at the hotel, that doesn't really bother me. I don't know why, but that Ryman Auditorium, there's something. There's an atmosphere and a magic about that. It's hallowed ground. I mean, you walk out there and it's still that way. And I still get butterflies. You'd think I'd beat over that, but anyway.
Well, it's amazing because you just wanted to get there to watch, and you ended up being on stage your first time instead of getting to watch. That's pretty amazing.
Well, I would tell you this, when I was out there trying to play, I guess I saw Hank Williams and everybody else go walk past me, you know, because they'd been long gone. But I imagine everybody had been there before. Uncle Dave Macon. I thought, wait a minute, what am I doing here? I'll tell you a funny story about that. I went to Baltimore, Maryland, and it was me and Jimmy and Paul Williams and Kirk Hansen and Lois Johnson. That was the group. And we played a big auditorium, sold out. It was a big package show. Had Red Foley, the Wilburn Brothers, Loretta, Webb Pierce, Leon McCullough from the Cimarron Boys, and Jimmy. Well, there was a guy named Buddy Dean that had a local TV show at WARL in Baltimore. And they wanted us to come over and plug the show for the night out. Of course, I didn't know why they would do that. It sold out anyway. But anyway, so we go over. And a friend of mine that was from Hancock County, named Roy Bell, and Roy was living in Baltimore in that area, so he came by that night. He said, "Hey, why don't you just go stay with me?" Because we were staying overnight, and then we were heading out west. And he said, "I saw you on TV." I said, "Did? How'd I do?" He said, "Well, I don't know. I couldn't see you. All I saw was the top of your hat, and you never did look up." I was afraid to look up. I want to make sure my leg's going to hold me up.
Well, if it's okay with you guys, I think we're going to take a couple of questions. I know Jack is back there waving his hand. I think he has an important question for you guys.
We'll see whether or not it's important. And first I want to ask if Maisel Dealey is here. Oh, Maisel, good to see you, buddy. Great to have you. Doyle, if you all, some of you probably saw, contributed a lovely essay to our guide this year. And Doyle, thank you very much. That was very generous. But I'd like you to maybe talk a little bit about what you referred to in here about the impact of seeing Maisel's, what?
His great uncle, brother Claude Ely. Yeah. I met Maisel, his wife, just a few minutes ago, and he said, "I've got a book. I wrote a book on it, so I've already got it. I've already read it." So anyway, but I was about 16 years old, so and I lived over in Hancock County, and now all my mother's people pretty much were from Lee County, Virginia. Dad was from Tennessee, but mother's people. My grandmother lived in Pennington. One of my uncles lived in Big Stone. And, so anyway, but there was a radio station. For the life of me, I can't recall the call letters. But there was a fellow had an Sunday afternoon gospel program. And I believe his name was Roy Sprinkle. He had a used furniture store, and he would do about 2.5 hours of Sunday gospel. Well, we went over there one day. We're just young, it was me and my first cousin and a fellow named Norman Jarvis, and there was 3 or 4 of us, and to see if we could get on the radio. They let us sing one, and because we did a lot of gospel music, and mostly take off on Ralph and Carter or Lester Earl, the kind of gospel they were doing, you know. But so the guy, yeah, come on, we'll put you on, and so he did, and we went on back home for a little while. A few weeks later, we decided to see if he could let us come on the radio again, and so we pulled into the lot of the radio station, and he come busting out the door. And Roy wasn't a real tall man, but he's real wide. Pretty big fella, you know. And where you all been? And I scared him. We said, well, we've been home. He said, well, I didn't know how to get a hold of you, didn't know who to call, you didn't even know what you called yourself. And so we went to the studio, and there was a little old tub-like thing, and it was full of letters. People won't know who we were, you know. Well, let me tell you, we thought when we left there that we'd already made it to the big time. You know? But one Sunday we were over there, and of course now, Brother Claude, you'd hear on WCKY radio, especially out of Cincinnati, Ohio, Wayne Rainey would play a lot of gospel music. And Brother Claude Ely's There Ain't No Grave Gonna Hold My Body Down was one that he played all the time. And so we were over there, and boy, this car comes tearing into the lot, and this big fella gets out, comes in with his guitar, and right away we knew it was Brother Claude Ely, and he sang his big song, There Ain't No Grave Gonna Hold My Body Down. Now that was quite an impression on a 16-year-old kid that hadn't been more than 100 miles away from home, you know. But that was my recollection of Brother Claude Ely. He did everything with purpose. I mean, he had a mission when you could tell it, you know, the way he moved. But that was quite an experience for me.
Really appreciate it, you know, because we're interested in knowing about all the people in this area who have made an impact in music. And to be honest with you, I was not familiar with Paul Ely until you brought it to my attention. We got our youth artists getting ready to start fairly soon. Maybe one more question, if anybody here has one.
Yeah, does anybody from the audience want to ask a question? There.
This is for Russell. When Doyle took you on board, I wanted to hear the do's and don'ts.
The do's and don'ts? Well, there were a few on both sides.
It wasn't that bad.
No, I mean, pay attention, listen, that was a do, listen to what I'm saying, and, work hard at it. Doyle is a great teacher for his music, and you can learn a lot. I did. The 6 years that I was playing guitar for him. And that's really all you got to do is pay attention and listen to what he's saying and practice those things. And it worked for me. I be honest with you, I thought for a while there that my time as a member of Quicksilver was going to be short-lived because I was really not. I wasn't the guitar player that Doyle really wanted and needed, and I worked really hard at it. And I guess I got to the point where he was okay with it, but I did. He said, this is what I want you to do," and he showed me a rhythm pattern. He said, "I want you to eat, live, and breathe this right here until it becomes second nature." He said, "Everything else can follow, but you have to have this to begin with." And so I did. And like I said, I guess it got good enough that I remember he asked me one time, or he asked us, the three of us, he said, "I need to ask y'all something. If I have to let one of y'all go, are the rest of you going too, or are you going to stay here?" Immediately, we all started shaking in our shoes. It's like, who is it? Is it you? Is it me? Who is it?
One of the don'ts was, and this was so funny, I never will forget it. And, we went through a list of things, and, people watch you off stage, they see you off stage more than they see you on stage. So the way you carry yourself at all times is very important. But I was going through by the way, the dues are just what he said. Give me the best you got, and I'll be the easiest guy to work for. If you don't do that, you won't be here long. But anyway, but I said, one other thing. I said, "Does anybody here chew or dip?" And they got this panic look on their face. And Russell said, Curtis used to.
That's a true story.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, he said, because I don't allow that in my band. He said, so does anybody do it? I said, well, Curtis used to. That was a big don't.
Still is.
And still is, I'm sure. But those, there wasn't a whole lot of, carry yourself right, just do right. That's just common sense, really. I thought about one particular thing that I have carried with me for years, and I don't know if you'll remember this or not, but it's just a funny story. I have laughed about this many times over the years. It was early on. It was I don't remember who was playing bass in the group at this point. I don't remember if it was Curtis or if it was Ray. But Scott and I met you. We weren't taking the bus. It was had to have been a show that was close to Bristol.
Yeah.
So, and we met you at a Kmart parking lot there on the outskirts of town. And you were you had a Subaru station wagon.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the three of us, we met you at the parking lot, and we loaded our stuff, Doyle loaded up, into the Subaru, and we all got inside the car to go to this show. Scott's in the back seat, I'm in the front seat, passenger side, and Doyle's driving. Well, I didn't know it, but see, Doyle was going through this mental checklist in his head. Okay, I've got my mandolin, I've got my clothes, they got all their stuff. And he's good. I didn't realize he was doing this because he never said anything. But all of a sudden he got in there and he started the car up and he looked down, he was looking down at the dash, he said, I'm full of gas. And he was talking about the car, but I said, maybe it's something you ate.
Well, what a note to end on.
Bill looked at me like I was from another planet. He said, the car, dummy. And I thought Scott Best was going to fall out of the back of that car. He was laughing so hard.
Let me share that when Curtis was the youngest, he stayed about a year, and his wife was even younger, and she wanted to go back home to Texas, and so Curtis was leaving. And so we did a show in Smyrna, Georgia, and I hired Ray Deaton, who was playing mandolin and singing tenor with his uncles in a band in Georgia. I hired Ray to play bass and sing bass because truth was he was a bass singer. But anyway, I had a week to get him ready. We had shows coming up, and so he came in. He went and bought him a bass. And so I said, our first rehearsal, and the first show was going to be all gospel. I said, well, let's do, do you know Lady Bird is the feet of Jesus? Yep. I said, well, it's in B. It's in B. Let's go. And I kicked it off, and we're playing. And I looked at Ray, and he was standing there. And I said, Ray, do you want to play along with us? He said, man, where's B on this thing? I said, Lord, have mercy. What am I going to do?
Guys, we appreciate all of the stories that you've told. We've laughed a lot, and it's just been great to hear it, and we can't wait to hear you all out back. Why don't you
Thank
give
y'all for
these
being
guys
here.
a big
Thank you.
hand?
I remember that like it was yesterday. I was like it.
Song, so I hope you all like it. It's many colors.
Seasons of my youth, I recall a box of rags someone gave us, and how my mama put the rags to use. There were rags of many colors, every piece was small. I didn't have a coat, and it was way down in the fall. Mama sewed the rags together, sewing every piece with love. She made my coat of many colors I was so proud of. As she sewed, she told a story from the Bible she had read.
Thank you all for having us tonight. Again, we're the Miss Ellen String Band, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. And we're going to leave you all with a dancing tune if we have any dancing people. This is called Soldier Story, so I hope you enjoy
Miss Ellen String Band. All right, we've got.
And we'd like for you to do that. This is the executive director of the Crooked Road that made all this stuff happen to you here today, okay? Mr. Jack Hinchelwood, let's give him a big hand. All right. How many of you know where Josephine, Virginia is? It's right across the creek. So remember, anybody asked where Josephine is, it's right across the creek. Good to have everybody with us. How many out-of-staters do we have today? All right. We do have a guest book that we would appreciate very much if you'd sign that before you leave. It just takes just a second. Your name and where you're from. It goes a long way when we ask for a grant or something that's available. If we got all on paper, it really goes a long way for us to get the grant. And you can see we still need a few things to do with this building, but it's coming along fine. We got one in the oven right now. Maybe next year when we're back for the Mountain of Music. Did you start this? Weren't you the originator of the Mountain?
Pretty much everything we do is by committee.
By committee. That was a good answer. I tell you what, this fellow's been with the Crooked Road since the get-go of the Crooked Road. He's worked 24 and 25 hours a day. Does a great job. He's always got a smile on his face. And anytime we need him, he's there to help us. If he can't help us, he finds somebody that can. Have you got a few words to say to the folks? Okay. Mr. Jack Hinchelwood, once more time.
Thank you all very, very much. Got some sponsors that I want to thank, Appalachian, and we're blessed because the list is sort of long, so bear with me. Appalachian Regional Commission, Food City, you can see up here, National Endowment for the Arts, Department of Housing, Community Development, Virginia Tobacco Commission. Virginia is for lovers. The Blue Ridge Beverage folks, Bluegrass Today, Bristol Herald Courier, David and Judy Ream Snyder, WCYB, the Virginia Commission for the Arts, the Roanoke Times, Dominion Energy, Market Connections,
Briarwoods, Virginia Living Magazine, and the folks from WBRF Classic Country, and some very special homecoming friends, as you can read in here. Is Yvonne and Bill in the house tonight? Give them a special thank you if they made it out. They're friends of the homecoming. Larry and Janet Mullins. We can give them a hand because Larry came out to introduce the string band. And I want to give a shout out. I think we might have some folks here tonight from Waxham. Do we have some Waxham folks here, courtesy of the station? The station is a great supporter of us, so we appreciate them so much. Any other sponsors here tonight that I did not just mention? Anybody? Any other sponsors? We hate to leave anybody out. Well, we've got merch back there. We've got the brand new 2018 Mountains Music Homecoming CD. It's got Doyle Lawson on it. It's got Russell Moore, Third Time Out. It's got Terry Balkin, The Dukes of Drive. It's amazing, so go check that out. Of course, Crooked Road shirts. I know Doyle and Russell have some great CDs back here. Jim Van Cleve maybe as well. Pick up a guide. We've got plenty of those back there. Last thing, the folks that raised your hand, you're from out of state. Shout out where you're from, maybe one or two. Carolina, North Carolina. Ohio, Rochester, New York. Anybody from outside the U.S.? Anybody fly in for the concert tonight? Yeah. Right here. Y'all flew in over the mountain, didn't you? I did. Into Wise. Well, make them welcome for taking the effort to bring their plane over here tonight. We're delighted you're here. And I think you all are probably ready for the IBMA Vocal Group of the Year, Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver.
Baby, darling.
What happened?
You kissed me and my heart fell at your feet. I had never seen a woman with such beauty, and today still look the same to me. I could never walk away from you, darling, for I believe that we were meant to be. I believe that we were born to love each other. Do you believe that you were born for me? I could live forever with your arms around me, for loving you's been the way through. I couldn't bear the thought to lose you, darling, and I know, my dear, you feel the same for me. I could never walk away from you, darling, for I believe that we were meant to be. I believe that we were born to love each other. Do you believe that you were born for me? Through the years I know I've taken you for granted, forgetting all the things you did for me. But there never was a time you didn't love me, and I'm glad, my dear, that God gave you to me. I could never walk away from you, darling, for I believe that we were meant to be. I believe that we were born to love each other. Do you believe that you were born for me? Do you believe that you were born for me? Jealous, jealous, I think I'm losing my mind. I think about you, I'm giving up you, I'm jealous all of the time.
Jealousy goes from the window. Stay out of my foolish heart. If this is love, I don't need you. Tearing my dream world apart. I'm
Jealous, jealous, I think I'm losing my mind. I think about you, I'm giving up you, I'm jealous all of the time.
I see you talking to someone, innocent though it may be. Inside my imagination, you're being untrue to me.
I'm jealous, jealous, I think I'm losing my mind. I think about you, I'm beginning to love you, I'm jealous all of the time. All of the time, I'm jealous all of the time, I'm jealous all of the time.
Thank you, folks. Oh, thank you so much. Great big hug. How you doing? Everybody doing good tonight? Yeah. Well, we'll fix that. Anyway, it's good to be here. Been a while since I've been in this part of Virginia, right close to home. And I'd heard of this place, but I never. We don't
Not over this way much. We're usually going east or west or north and south and staying on the interstate. But it's good to be here and for the Cooking Road Series, and hope that you folks will enjoy our music. And our brand of bluegrass is gospel music thrown in the mix. And let's see. Anybody here by chance seeing us if you've never seen Doyle Lawson in Quicksilver, let me see your hands if you've never seen this before. You all don't get out a whole lot, do you?
Yeah, we just played 3 songs.
No, seriously, we're glad to have you all here. Let me take just a minute to introduce you folks. The young man on the dobro, almost 12 years he's been a part of the group. And he, as I say, he's my right arm on the road. One of the finest dobro pickers you'll hear. In fact, he was the 2017 IBMA Dobro Player of the Year. We're quite proud of that. Sings born in Nashville, Tennessee, but he lives these days around Sparta, Tennessee. It's the home place where his family, his dad grew up. And you're sure to enjoy Mr. Josh Swift on the vocals and the dobro. Josh, show it out. About 8 years or so with the 5-string banjo, doing the banjo doing this quite well. And he's a crowd favorite. I don't care where we go. The ladies just always ask him if he's hungry or would he like a glass of milk or something.
Everybody loves children.
Maybe that's what it is. No, seriously, you're going to enjoy the 5-string work of Mr. Joe Dean on the banjo. On the fiddle, almost 5 years playing the fiddle. The young man was born in Texas, down around Houston, Texas. But he grew up out around Seattle, Washington, so give me a big Texas howdy for him, huh?
Howdy.
All right. That's pretty weak, but it's okay. We'll take it. One of the famous fiddle players up and coming today. I love the way he's dedicated to his craft and it shows, and you're going to really enjoy this young man. That's Stephen Burwell playing the fiddle. One of the newest members of the group signed on December the 1st. No stranger to the world of music, bluegrass music and gospel especially. He comes to us from the little town of Sharps Chapel, Tennessee. I believe they turned off the Sears die-hard battery to come up here to be with you, don't they? Turned out the lights already.
Did you drive a horse or drive a tractor?
Now, come on. Well, evidently they know where Sharps. They know where Sharps Chapel, Tennessee is. You can't miss it. It's easy to find. Sort of in between Little Barrel and Resumer Speed, so they're sure to find it. All right? You're going to enjoy this, young man. Would you please make welcome Mr. Jerry Cole, who's going to play the bass and sing for us.
One time, I think my sweet baby's got leaning on her The stronger I hold her, the farther apart my darling is moving from me. The danger of my darling breaking my heart is fast moving on me. She don't hold and kiss me like she did one time. I think my sweet baby's got leaving on her mind. at one time. I think my sweet baby's got leaving on her mind. I think my sweet baby's got leaving on her mind.
Jerry Cole sings for you. By George. Very convincing. Well, you just heard this young man. He's another new member, also signed on the 1st of December last year. And you just heard him play some guitar. Now, I heard this young man. He comes to us up in the state of Kentucky. Around, little town of Mountain right near Redflow Valley, Kentucky, for reference. I hired him as a vocalist, and I didn't know he could play guitar like that. And man, I told the guys, I said, boy, I couldn't have gone to Walmart and got a better deal than that. But I'm mighty proud of him. He's doing a mighty fine job for sure. We're going to get him to do a song now that has been around for a while, and this will be on a CD that's on its way. I don't know the exact release date, but we were in Prague, Czech Republic in January, and we did a concert there, and out of that we've got a live recording from Prague, Czech Republic on the way, and here's a song that he sang. Without further ado, would you make welcome Mr. Jake Vanover while he sings?
I said I'll die before I do. Now the pain is gonna kill me if I let it. Has it been a lifetime since I walked out on you? Reaching out for whatever inside, but living like there's no tomorrow. Finally got to me tonight. You told me one day I'd be sorry. Now I feel every word coming true. But one thing I've learned in a hurry: freedom is a prison for a fool. Darling, our own number wasn't easy, and it's been hard to admit you were right, but living like there's no tomorrow.
I got kind of emotional on that, but I don't know what you're singing about, but I sort of got the mission myself. There's something to cheer us up. Gracious. You know, bluegrass songs. Bluegrass love songs. They border on morbid and pitiful anyway. Now here's one that's happy though. This is happy. So if you got your sweetheart with you, reach over, take it by the hand, squeeze it a little bit, let it know the fire's still burning. Now fellas, word of caution. You grab a hand, make sure she belongs to you, because you might get in trouble if you don't know. Right? Here's how I told them all about you.
1, 2, 3, 4. I told the whippoorwill, told the daffodil, just how pretty and small. Yes, I told, oh baby, I told all about you. I told each little bird every single word that you said was worthwhile. Yes, I told, oh baby, I told all about you. I told the moon and every little star that shines above the way you roll your eyes and how you love. Each little honeybee says there's gonna be honeymoon for two. Yes, I told, Doyle, I told all about you. Told the daffodil just how pretty each smile. Baby, I told each little bird every single word that she said was worthwhile. Baby, I told the moon and every little star that shines above the way you roll your eyes and how you love. Each little honeybee says there's gonna be honeymoon for two. Yes, I told, oh birdie, I told all about you. Yes, I told them all about birds and the bees and the birds and the trees. But tell them all about you.
Well, all right. Now, I know you're looking up here and asking yourself, now, why does old Doyle look so confident? I ain't too worried since I got a hat on. You boys don't. Was it a bird within the plane? It was a bird. Anyway, Josh, let's do a little picking. What do you think, okay?
Okay, Doyle.
Well, it's okay. That bird likes bluegrass too. We're in a good place. Yeah. You better watch, because Joe's a hunter. He might shoot that sucker and we'll have it for breakfast tomorrow. You can tell.
You know, I was getting some groceries the other day, Doyle.
You get what?
I was getting some groceries the other day.
Yeah, okay.
And I went to get some bananas.
Yeah.
And I picked one up and it said, Doyle.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it did. And I realized I've been calling you Doyle for 12 years. You're Doyle. I don't think the Y is silent.
Not anymore.
I love you, Doyle. I love old people.
Well, if I ever meet an old person, I'll introduce you to them. So it ain't likely that you get old if you keep mouthing off like that. We better pick one, all right? What are you going to pick for us?
We'll do the Clinch Mountain Backstep.
Well, that's a good one right here. boys are feeling good today. Hey, I wish I could afford to pay you for all you do.
You know what did it?
What's that?
You left your oxygen machine on in the back of the bus. Everybody's just been breathing real good.
Well, I don't know what you think you need. It's full of hot air as you are. You know, we'll do you a song now. In 1986, there were
I was born.
I knew there was something about that year I didn't like, but anyway, 1986, there was 24 or 5 bluegrass musicians met in Nashville with the intent of trying to form an association, an organization that would not only preserve our music we call bluegrass, but to promote it as well. And out of that came the International Bluegrass Music Association. And early on, one of their main objectives for that was to establish a trust fund for our professional bluegrass people that in times of need, be it illness or some tragic occurrence that unforeseen, knowing that we could not cure their ills or maybe solve all their problems, but we could help maybe through the rough spots of the road. A year and a half or so ago, I had a wild idea, I thought, and I called the record company that I was recording for at the time because they had a heavy roster of bluegrass for artists. I said, if we could get our artists on the label to donate their time and effort, would you be willing to provide the studio and the engineer, and let's do a CD and give the net proceeds to the IBMA Trust Fund. And he immediately said yes, and out of that came a CD we call Come See About Me. On that, in addition to the 2 songs that we did, you'll hear artists such as the Lonesome River Band, the Grascals, Boston Range, Donna Ulysses, Brooke and Darren Aldridge, Sideburn, Chris Jones, and Love Cannon, Unspoken Tradition. I believe I covered everything, right?
I wasn't paying attention.
You never pay attention. Now, when we finish up tonight, let the record show that you are officially fired until Friday. I'm like Ernest Tubb. Jack Green told me Ernest used to fire him every other week because they wouldn't play cards with him. Jack said one time Ernest got mad, put him off the bus out in the middle of nowhere. He hitchhiked into a bus station, got him a ticket to Nashville, sitting there waiting on the bus, and the door opened up, and he looked up, and Cal Smith, the lead singer for him, walked in. He said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Well, they fired me too, because I don't want to play cards." Ernest would fire him, then he called up, Jackson, that Monday morning, he called us up and said, "Well, all right, you boys can come on back if you want to." But I never did anything like that. But I wanted to do this, a gospel song, because the Bible tells us that all good things come from God. And I firmly do believe that. And I didn't want to try to do something good and leave God out of the equation. So I chose this song that Josh's dad, Randy Swift, one of my favorite singers and gospel songwriters. And we'll do that. You'll find this song that Come See About Me CD, one called We'll Never Walk Alone.
Sowed these seeds of hope when he prayed. He said, "Glory be to Jesus, 'cause I know that he sees us, and he takes care to take care of all he calls his own. Though the enemy assails us, our God will never fail us. He knows when we're in trouble, and we'll still recall the words my daddy prayed. When I face the storms of life, I will not be afraid. 'Cause I know all things work together for my good, I know it's true. So when my life's turned upside down, I know just what I read. My mind goes back to when I was that kid. Then I'll say those words just like my daddy did. He said, glory be to Jesus, 'cause I know that he sees us, and he takes care to take care of all he calls his own. Though the enemy assails us, our God will never fail us. He knows when we're in trouble and we'll never walk alone. He knows when we're in trouble and we'll never walk alone. Never walk alone.
We'll never walk alone. Stephen, we got to have a little fiddle music, huh? About $1.80 worth of fiddle tune, huh? All right. Dollar, make sure it's $1.80 worth. All right. Good. You got excited. That was $2.05 worth. I counted it all. Extra, got a little extra for that. Hangman's Reel, is that what you call that? All right. Jerry came on board. He knows that how much I love gospel music and how much I sing a cappella. Big reason, my dad sang in the a cappella quartet for a lot of years. And Jerry's dad sang gospel music with the Better Way Quartet for 30 years or so, as I understand it. But he asked if we would put this song back in the program, one that I recorded a good while back on an all a cappella recording.
That's right, Doyle.
That's what you're going to sound like when I get through with you.
No, you know I love you. I love rich people.
Well, you have to talk to Jack about that, I guess. Lord, I've been a hard-working pilgrim on the way.
I've been working for Jesus. From the steps of getting slow. And a hard road to travel. In this world we go. Been working on a building. Been praying every day. Gonna be a hard-working pilgrim on the way.
Now my feet are getting weary, but I'm satisfied. Still got a lot of burden, but nothing too high. When I stand before the judgment, this is all I can say. Lord, I've been a hard-working pilgrim on the way.
say, ought to be a hard-working pilgrim on the way.
Well, thank you. That's always been a good one. I learned that from Dad in the quartet. We do one more there than that stock music. I always like to sing a cappella because I only got to work half as hard. But all the tricks. But here's a song again that goes back a few years, but one of my favorites. I like to do the songs that have moving parts, I used to say. Going home to heaven.
I'm starting to a land where there's everlasting joy, singing with the angel band there, nothing to annoy. There'll be my friends and loved ones, with them ever stay. I am going home to heaven some sweet day, shouting, singing, praises ringing in that happy land.
Friends, I know that
makes me wanna go there with him on that strand. Time is drawing nearer, I've not long to stay. I am going home to heaven some sweet day. There will be no wars to grieve us, there will be lasting peace. Friends will never have to leave us, parting will have ceased. Soon my troubles will be over, I will sail away. I am going home to heaven some sweet day, shouting, singing, praises ringing in that happy land.
friends, I know that
Makes me wanna go there with him on that strand. Time is drawing nearer, I've not long to stay. I am going home to heaven some sweet day, shouting, singing, praises ringing in that happy land.
friends, I know
Makes me
that
wanna go there with him on that strand. Time is drawing nearer, I've not long to stay. I am going home to heaven some sweet day. I am going home to heaven some sweet
Thank you. Couple of acapella gospel numbers, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I love singing acapella, and you can't beat that. About gospel to me. Jodine, we got to get a banjo tune out of you right now. Here's a tune that's been around for a while, but you don't hear many banjo pickers pick it because it's kind of difficult. Jodine said he was up to the task. Here's Joe to do a little tune that we call Bear Tracks. morning, Joseph. Liberty. You're flying in uncharted territories here, Bird. When I was growing up, we listened to the Great Old Opry out of East Tennessee when we get a clear channel. WSM was a 50,000 watt station, but sometimes the weather would interfere. And I would always hope that when I got the Opry on, I'd get to hear a fellow named Bill Monroe. Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys, and I was about 5 when I heard him the first time. My mother told me who it was and said he could sing really high and he played a mandolin. And I said, I want to do that when I grow up. And so I got bit by the bluegrass bug and it never left me. So in addition to that, of course, as I got older, I was able to hear a couple of brothers that grew up right nearby here on WCYB radio, the Farm Time Show. Got to hear Ralph and Carter, the Stanley brothers, and they come on every day. And there for a while, I had to verify about Ralph, but they come on at 12:15. We're living just outside of Kingsport, and from the school, I could see our house on the hill. And for a little guy, it seemed like a long way. So I'd run, when I got out of school for lunch, I'd run home as hard as I could go and turn on the radio so I could hear Ralph and Carter. And I'd usually only miss maybe a verse in the chorus or something. And then I'd go back to school after they went off, and I'd usually only miss a half hour or so in class. You caught that, didn't you? Okay. But anyway, I remember hearing Mac Wiseman on the Farm Time Show. But it was a wealth of entertainment in that area in those days around the Bristol area because of Farm Time. And a lot of times the people would be passing through, they'd always stop and do a song on the radio or whatever. But Mr. Bill left a lasting impression on me because of his memory playing, and so of course he went on to become known as the father of bluegrass music. But I got to where that I'd like to feature maybe a song that Bill had done, and here's one that we'll do that he wrote about his home state. Actually, a lady from his home state. See if I can get through it. There's one called My Rose of Old Kentucky. wonder. So I'll tell you the reason why. She's my rose of old Kentucky, and her love will never die. She's my rose of old Kentucky. I watched her bloom as the years go by, and maybe there'll never be another. I'll love her till the day I die. Mighty good fiddle player, Steve. She's my rose of old Kentucky. I watched her bloom as the years went by, and to me there'll never be another. I'll love her till the day I die. Goes back to the very early days of what we call bluegrass these days. And folks, we're going to do one more, then we're going to take an intermission. And for about, I believe Jack said 30 minutes or so. Then we'll come back and stay with us, because I promise you, if you will, we're going to do some different songs next time. So it's something to look forward to. See what we can do. You and I got it right. We'll do one more, then we'll take a break. Jody, I think I see the merch table back there, and the CDs. Got some t-shirts or something, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. 8 years, he still says, sir. Why? That's pretty good. Usually about 6 months, they'll say, what? Anyway, break time, we'll be off and come back and shake it how it was done. We're trying to make our way back there. So glad y'all are here on a Tuesday night right here in North Virginia. Thank you so much. We're going to catch a train for a little while now. 1,
Don't leave me behind. Blue steam flying from the
was my special guest. Thank you. Really enjoyed this program. Thank you again for being here with us. We'll enjoy it for us for sure. All right, boys, let's do the music and we'll get our guest out here, all right?
Gotta be. Will you be here in the morning when the rooster starts to crow? Will my fears be all uncalled for, Julianne? I've got to know. Dress yourself in silk and satin, put some ribbons in your hair, but don't say you're gonna leave me. It's more than I can bear. Go and have your night of dancing if you like those country songs, but when all the fun is over, Julianne, come on home. Julianne, you know I love you, I can't live my life alone. Is there some way I can please you? Tell me what to keep you home. I've got no gold or silver, got no diamond for your hands. All I have is love to give you, oh I need you. Julianne, dress yourself in silk and satin, put some ribbons in your hair, but don't say you're gonna leave me. It's more than I can bear. Go and have your night of dancing if you like those country songs, but when all the fun is over, Julianne, come on home. Dress yourself in silk and satin, put some ribbons in your hair, but don't say you're gonna leave me. It's more than I can bear. Go and have your night of dancing if you like those country songs, but when all the fun is over, Julianne, come on home. I don't care if the sun don't shine, I don't care if the bells don't chime, just as long as you love me. I don't care if the top don't spin, I don't care if the tin won't tin, just as long as you love me. So darling, let it rain, let it snow, let the cold north winds blow, just as long as you love me. North or south, east or west, you know I will stand the test, just as long as you love me. I don't care if the bird don't sing, I don't care if the bell won't ring, just as long as you love me. I don't care if the pump don't burn, I don't care if the world won't turn, just as long as you love me. So darling, let it rain, let it snow, let the cold north winds blow, just as long as you love me. North or south, east or west, you know I will stand the test, just as long as you love me. let it snow, let it go, north winds blow, just as long as you love me. North or south, east or west, you know I will stand the test, just as long as you love me. Just as long as you love me.
I don't care, darling, just as long as you love me. Some holes been with me for a good while, but first one was Julianne, of course, one of my most requested bluegrass numbers, I recorded that in 1985. Josh, you and I had a request to do an old tune that's been around for a long time that I actually learned from Bill Monroe, and he learned it from a fellow named D. Ford Bailey, who was a little black man who played the harmonica on the Grand Ole Opry, beginning in about 1928 or so through 1943. And there was a time when Bill had a tent show to travel that D. Ford traveled with him, and I suspect that's probably where Mr. Bill learned the tune. Fast forward to several years later, Josh and I were in the studio, and we decided to lay this down with just a manlet in a dope room. Is that right, Josh?
That's right, Doyle.
I won't kill him dead or Hank Williams. All right, for the good folk, somebody asked for it. Let's do it. We'll call the Evening Prayer Blues. In 1981, I released the second album by Doyle Lawson, Quicksilver. It was all gospel. We recorded one album and did the second one. I wanted to do it all gospel because people seem to be taken to the gospel music. A lot of songs I learned from Dad and other people that I wanted to, hopefully, as much as I like the people, would like a little bit. We opened up that album with this song that we're going to do for it right now that still is probably the most requested gospel song I've ever recorded. So without further ado, the band and I would like to do for it right now, On the Sea of Life.
We're on the sea of life, sailing to a better home, where the saint of all the earth shall abide. Leaving all our trials here, many pleasures wait us there, when we cross the fog and reach the other side. Sailing, sailing on, sailing, sailing on, we are told. The captain, as the anchor goes call and take ship for heaven's country bright and fair. We're sailing on, sailing, sailing on the fall. We're called to the captain, singing great billows home. To just swim up against the harbor and be safely on the tide. We're going to the other side.
Well, as I promised you earlier, we'd like to bring a couple of fellows out here, and those of y'all that were over when we had our little get-together and built a crossway. I introduced him over there, but we'd like you to make welcome right now a young man that came aboard in 1985 and did a great job, stayed 6 years or so, and certainly has gone on to carve a place for him in this world of music we call bluegrass. Would you make welcome to Mr. Russell Moore? And a young man that came on in the 90s, a little bit later on, that I hired this guy to come in and do a session, put fiddle on a recording session I was doing, and I was so impressed with him. And he was a young fellow, about 18 years old or so, but I was so impressed, and I called him a week or so later, and I said, why don't you just come to work? He did, and then he went on to be a founding member of a group called Mountain Heart, and he, in the past, spent many years there, and then he worked for Josh Turner, and you name it, he's been doing it, and not only a great musician, but he's producing his music, engineers, and arranges, whatever. Big hand for Jimmy Van Cleve on the field. Russell, we recorded this in about 1987, I think. We did pretty much an all-traditional sounding record, and this is the one that we put it on. And you said you could remember it, which is good, because I can't. I do the chorus. Big Jerry Cole is going to handle the tenor on the choruses, right? You want to do the lead? You're second lead, right? Okay. All right? Okay. Is that what you want to do?
Sure.
Well, things ain't changed a whole lot.
No.
Here's a White Rose.
They tell me to speak to highways, or else leave that poor boy alone. Oh, Willie, my darling, come back.
Son, I believe it's about like riding a bicycle. Some things you just don't forget.
Absolutely do not. Absolutely.
Let's see, you've been gone, what, 28 years.
About 28 years.
Good gracious, alive.
Yeah, I was 4 when he left your band.
Okay. Who'd have thought it?
In a lot of ways, my boy, you're still 4. Well, from the very same album, let's do one that also Russell recorded with me. I think I got the lead on this here. Who's doing the baritone?
Jerry.
All right. You doing the baritone? All right. One called Out on the Ocean.
Sailing out on the ocean, many miles from home on sea, and I wonder, little darling, if you ever think of me. I am just your old true lover, traveling through this world alone, and I this life I've always known. Get it down, Jimmy. I was once carefree and happy when I won my sweetheart's hand, but now my life is empty since you wed another man. You remember, little darling, just how much I cared for you, and you told me that you loved me, but you proved to be untrue. I am traveling for my darling, far away from this old place, but I know I'll never forget you, your sweet smile and happy face. I can hear my mother calling, I can see my father pray. If I'd listened to my father, I would be at home today.
Settle down on the ocean. One good around the house. Give my fiddle player. Stephen, come back out here. Just play the fiddle. I'll tell you when, all right? I believe they got one picked out that's fun to do, if I get a chance to play it, is. This is one called Big Burn. agree, if you didn't already have a job, I might offer you one. The only thing I can think of better than twin fiddles is 3. I love fiddles. Of course, that old saying, say, you know what's better than a 5-string banjo? I said nothing. You know what's better, or what's worse than 2 banjos? I say nothing. 4 banjo players.
I like your jacket.
Here we go.
I bet that thing makes a racket in a dryer. Does that come in men's sizes?
Well, it does.
I'd like to have one.
Well, you know, Manuel does the jackets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He doesn't do the big and wide, I mean big and tall.
Men's, yeah.
He subcontracts.
I'd like his information. I think that look good in the sparkly
Yes,
coat.
I've got it. I've got his name and his number if you want to get it.
And he's reputable?
He's the best, they tell me.
Who is it?
It's Omar the Tent Maker.
And he's good? Never heard of it.
Well,
Sounds good.
He makes them in 6-foot sections, so.
Okay. That would fit.
Anyway. Oh, gracious. Another song that we recorded when Russell was here, one of my favorite writers in those days was the one that wrote a lot of the classic songs in bluegrass, the late Pete Cole. He was a wonderful person and a great writer and a dear friend. I read it when I was working with J.D. Crowe, and he was an awfully good fellow. He wrote some good songs. We did this one here and had the first cut on it, and it's still one of my favorites. Hope that you'll enjoy it. Maybe you might remember it, but we'll call She's Walking through my memories.
Assuring me she'll be there for some time. Her golden hair is tied around my memory. The pain she left with me is here to stay.
Let's hear it. We would do another one that features some picking. Jimmy, you recorded, what was the album you recorded? It actually wasn't. Well, Hard Game of Love was part of it, and I forgot what the other one was. Well, you know, what the heck, I mean, it's been 20 plus years since you were here, right? I was looking and I noticed when Russell was here before, his hair was black and I had hair. Very white. Oh, good. Anyway, Jodine, I believe you got that banjo plucking around where I think you're ready to do a little kicking, right? Let's do a little Shenandoah breakdown. Well, I was thinking, the 24th of this month will be 41 years that me and my wife, Suzanne, have been married. And, I was still with a country gentleman, and we wanted to get married, but I was on the daggone road so much, we didn't have time. So we got married in between shows. True.
I was negative 9 years old when you got married the second time. It's fact. Actually, to be blunt with you, when you started touring, playing bluegrass music for a living,
yeah,
my dad was 4.
Bless his little heart. Kind of glad your daddy came along, Josh. I believe we got a pretty good dope.
Oh, I love you, Papa.
Hey, come on, walk over here, but you crawl back.
He's got a gun.
I'm legal. So, but what I'm saying is, any of you folks remember when the Shriners used to do the festival that was Wise out at the fairground? Well, they of course, the Shriners did very good work, but we were booked there, the gentlemen were, and we were booked there on Friday and Saturday. And so my wife lived in Northern Virginia, but she came down because I was going to be close by. We got married in Bristol, Virginia. And Keith Whitley was my best man. And so we played the Wise County Fairgrounds on Friday night. And we finally got away from there, and Keith and I did, about 4 o'clock in the morning trying to get to Bristol. I said, okay, we'll stop in Abingdon, and we'll get a stop here at Howard Johnson, and I'll leave a wake-up call, and I'll call out to her parents' house and find out exactly where that church is. Because I didn't know anything about Bristol. I'd been around Kingsport, and then we moved off to Hancock County, and I had never been around Bristol all that much. All I knew was a Methodist church in Bristol, Virginia. Or if it'd been a Pentecostal or missionary, I'd never found it. But anyway, so I left a wake-up call, and they didn't call me. So I woke up, and now due to my schedule, we were scheduled to get married at 9 o'clock in the morning because I had to go back and do a show that afternoon. I woke up and I saw the clock and I thought it was 7:25. And then I looked again, it was 8:35. I said, Keith, get up. It's 8:35 and I don't even know where the church is. Anyway, we got up, got clothes on it, and I'm telling you what's the truth. We went out of that motel room, and Keith went out literally putting one leg in his pants while we were gone. So I didn't have any idea because I tried to call, and they'd already left for the church. I tried to call them, nobody answered. So I called my parents, thinking that they might know. Couldn't get it. That's before cell phones, and you couldn't say, okay, Google, show me where what it is. Couldn't do any of that.
I was going to say, you should have just asked Siri.
Siri was dead at the time. And I was about to be, I knew that. But anyway, so I figured out the best way to find that church was to drive as fast as I could down in Bristol, and somebody would pull me over. And I could ask them where the church was. And if they didn't take me to jail, I'd make the wedding. There was not a policeman in sight. I think they all had moved to Tennessee or something, you know. But finally, a fellow driving a Mayfield or a Flavor Ridge milk truck, delivering milk, stopped and asked him. He told me where it was. Well, I missed it again. So I turned around, I went tearing back down the street, didn't know where I was, and that same fellow was way down there, and he jumped out the street and waved his arm. He said, go back to the first road to the right. I went and topped that hill, and there they all stood on the church steps. Their hands were in that come to Jesus pose. I scooted to a stop, and I stayed about 100 yards away, so if they started towards me, I could get away. And I said, Lord, if this marriage is meant to be, now's the time to tell me. But we got married. I had a little reception at her aunt's place. We went back to Wise and played a show that afternoon. I got on the bus and went to Charlotte, Michigan. She went to Arlington, Virginia. That was our marriage. So 41 years later, she's still hanging with me. So that's pretty good. This gospel number that Russell and I are going to do for you now is a song that we had played, I don't know if Russell, I know we played in Charleston, West Virginia. We were on our way to Nashville to record the next day. And I was driving an old Eagle bus. Now, buses back then were a little different than we have today. If you had lights in the bus, it was either a candle or a flashlight. No satellite TV. Nothing like that. But anyway, I wanted to do this song. I was going through a hymn and looked at it. I said, this would be a good song. So I got up and Russell was driving. And he and I were up in front of the bus. The other fellows were in bed. And we worked out this song on the way to Nashville. Got there and went to the studio. And I said, here's what we're going to record. this radio's got me more than he's ever heard it, but it's a beautiful song. It's an old song, and I bet you folks have heard it. I've heard it since I was a kid, but Russell asked if we could do it. I hope that you'll enjoy it. Reach back and get one called I Won't Have to Cross Jordan.
When I come to the river that in the day, when the last winds of sorrow have blown, there'll be somebody waiting to show me the way. I won't have to cross Jordan alone. I won't have to cross Jordan alone. Jesus died all my sins to atone. When the darkness I see, He'll be waiting for me. I won't have to cross Jordan alone. Though the billows of sorrow and trouble may sweep, Christ the Savior would care for His own. Till the end of my journey, my soul He will keep. I won't have to cross Jordan alone. I won't have to cross Jordan alone. Jesus died all my sins to atone. When the darkness I see, He'll be waiting for me. I won't have to cross Jordan alone. I won't have to cross Jordan alone. Jesus died all my sins to atone. When the darkness I see, He'll be waiting for me. I won't have to cross Jordan alone. I won't have to cross Jordan alone.
I won't have to cross Jordan alone. Man Russell, I forgot how a good song that is. My gracious. You can't beat the old gospel numbers. They're timeless, you know. They were written back in the day, but they held their value for sure. Well, folks, I got to tell you, it's been a whole lot of fun for me and all the guys that have been up here for sure. And what a pleasure it is to, well, for Jimmy to come out to the road, got to pick with him. It's been a long time, and sure enjoyed it, Jimmy. Thank you for coming up and being a part of it. Of course, this big old boy from Texas, he's still one of my favorite singers, always has been, and what a joy it is to get to sing again with him. Russell Moore, sure. And on behalf of my guys, Stephen Burwell, Joe Dean, Jerry Cole, Jake Van Over, and of course Josh Smith, also a young man that travels with us everywhere we go, is a very integral part of what we do. That's our sound technician. And not only that, he's a great musician, but I think he's about one of the best sound techs around that we're mighty proud of him. He comes to us originally from Marion, Virginia, and his name is Kevin McKinnon. If you give Kevin a big round of applause, I appreciate it. And I believe our driver is up. So we got a fellow that travels with us. He's from Galax, Virginia, and he's my ace driver, young man, and does a great job on holding us in the road when we're sleeping. He's up there behind the wheel. Dallas Hall driving the bus. Wait a minute up there, Dallas. Yeah, there he is. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's sitting at Russell's table.
He could take the
curtain
thing, take the thing off your table, sit behind yours and sell some CDs.
Well, maybe you need him. I don't think it's good.
Yeah, that reminds me, I see back there Russell's got CDs and hats and koozies and all kinds of fun stuff. And we've got new t-shirts and they got Doyle's face on them. So they're pretty cool if you like Doyle's face. I've got one. We're sold out right now, but we actually have hats on order, and guess what they say on them? Doyle. So tonight, the proceeds from Russell's table and the Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver table go to starving children. And one of them's mine. So thank you.
Yeah, all right. Are you done?
Love you. You've been with Jimmy for this is 2 nights in a row, and I was thinking, well, you've got to be with me for 5. How's that make you feel?
Dad. I want to go home. We kid around a lot, folks. Well, let me tell you something. By the way, one more introduction. The young man, by the way, that travels with Russell because he happened to be a banjo player and a mighty fine banjo speaker he is. He also happens to be the twin brother of Kevin, my sound tech, and Maryland player at the store. So give it up for Keith McKenna. Keith McKenna. Now, folks, you have lived till we get on the same show. And sometimes we'll follow Russell or vice versa. So here's Kevin back at the soundboard for me. Before people realize, they look up and they see what they think is Kevin on stage with Russell. But it's Keith. So they get all confused. So did I the first time. I was talking to Keith, thinking I was talking to Kevin. Thank goodness I was talking good because he's bigger than I am. I didn't want him to hurt the first time I left best. I hope that you enjoyed us. We thoroughly have enjoyed being here with you folks here. Virginia tonight. And we're leaving this song here. One that, again, reaching back to the days when Russell was with me. What we don't do a whole lot, but it's more than some of you bluegrass lovers will be familiar with. And again, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. God bless each and every one of you, and I hope we'll see you again real soon. Dear sweetheart, you done me wrong.
You told me that your love was true. Sweetheart, I thought the world of you. Now you've left me all alone. I have no one to call my own. Now, sweetheart, you done me wrong. You have left me all alone. Baby, there will come a time change your mind.
God bless you. So glad you came to be with us. Be safe going home. All right, you ain't done it yet. Turn that TV off. Here's one that we'll just do a little picking for you. Russell and his band, and also us, we're finishing up a five-day run singing part of it. Jack, thank you for letting us be a part of this series here. It's a great thing. And,
You feeling a little hoarse, Doyle?
yeah, a little bit.
I'm feeling a little Tony myself.
So, let me tell you something. You may have been or you may be a lot of things, but a little anything is something you ain't never going to do.
Hey, I will hide your pills. So your wife, when I joined the band, she said somebody needs to have Doyle's medication list just in case of emergency. So she sent me the entire thing. And I mean all of it.
Yeah, you just roll it up and scroll.
Keep it up.
Oh, I'm going to keep it up all right.
I've never fought
You
against
keep
the
it
law.
up, and I ain't going to go back as far as Hank Williams. I'll keep it in Conway 20. I'll get to you quicker.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
Thought you would be.
Love you, Papa.
I swear I had hair before I hired you. All right, let's do some picking. All right, guys? Let's see fifth players. How about the Ashland breakdown? you all.